Welcome everyone to Buddha's Center. Here in the United States, it's Thanksgiving, which is a complicated holiday. But in thinking about Thanksgiving, we think about things like gratitude and the fact that we have this human basis from which we can practice the Dharma and we can make aspirations for those who don't have such fortunate circumstances. And when we look at cyclic existence and all of the kind of terrible sufferings in the lower realms, and especially on this holiday when we see people's tables filled with sentient beings, we see a lot of pigs are slaughtered and a lot of chickens are slaughtered. And this time of year isn't just difficult for those beings that are being slaughtered. This is considered a really difficult time of year for family. And I know a lot of people who are going through a lot of difficulties. So what we want to do this evening is read the King of Aspiration prayers, the Sanchim Molam, together, once in English and once in Tibetan, and try to really, make these aspirations towards all sentient beings, and think specifically about those beings. For instance, all of the turkeys and all of the pigs, and many of them are actually ordered to be slaughtered for this particular festival, this particular holiday, so that we can be sure that many of them are in the intermediate state, and are bewildered and scared and have just been ejected from their animal body. And then so many humans, who have passed away in, the last, 49 days or so. Think about all of these beings in the intermediate state. And then think about all of the beings who are suffering emotionally during this time of year from, various different causes. So with all of these things in mind, thinking about the sentient beings that are used because of desire for flesh, the sentient beings that are used to, as slaves to work, and human beings who are abused and tortured and have horrible circumstances that many of us couldn't even imagine going through. Let's make these aspirations for them so that they may be, quickly born into a position where they have the 8 leisures and can meet with a qualified Mahayana teacher and be able to evolve from this horrible state of cyclic existence and get rid of eventually not only afflictive obstructions that bind us to cyclic existence, but be able to achieve the state of omniscience by getting rid of the afflictive, the obstructions to omniscience that keep all beings from truly being able to perceive conventional and ultimate truth simultaneously. And without the ability to do that, one doesn't have the highest state of perfect wisdom, love, compassion, skillful means, and power that is possible. So we know that every single sentient being will become a Buddha. All sentient beings, even the turkeys that were slaughtered and the pigs that were slaughtered, and all of the other animals and the fish, and all these other beings, they all have the same Buddha nature that we have. They all have this potential to evolve into the state of Buddha. They're unfortunately not in the same exact position that we're in, but because of karma and afflictions, we're only stopping breathing or losing too much blood away from our life being exactly like the life of those beings. Even though we both have Buddha nature, we both also have this mind that is going to dependently originate, like all phenomena, in this particular case, an impermanent phenomena, into what the imprints in my continuum allow it to see. And unfortunately, if I haven't gotten to the state of a complete purification where I've gotten rid of the afflictive obstructions, and I haven't really practiced well, at the time of death, there was some kind of craving and grasping will give rise to a potential existence, which will probably be in the lower realms of cyclic existence. So my mind can truly relate and empathize with those in the lower realms of cyclic existence, because I'm only a few steps away, a few breaths of not having breaths away from being born into that state, because I haven't purified my mind completely. I don't have the complete realization of the teaching shared in common with beings of small capacity, where at the time of death, I will have known that I have nothing whatsoever to regret and that I will have practiced in the best way possible. I don't feel that I've evolved enough to be able to confidently say that that is going to happen, at the time of death, that I'll be ejected into the place exactly where I want to go. So there are chances that if I don't really, really practice well in the gap that I have between now and death, the chances are that I'll have to be born into those miserable states, or I'll have to be born into a place, even in the human realm, where maybe the Buddha's teachings haven't been, or maybe I'm in a land where, even though in the world the Buddhist teachings are there, I live in a remote place where I can't get to the teachings, or I have some kind of problem with my sense faculties where I can't get to the teachings. So even, though I have a human basis maybe in my future life, will it be endowed with all the qualities that this human life has right now? And for me to confidently say yes would be naive, because I don't day and night seek to be free from the lower realms of cyclic existence. I don't day and night seek to be free from cyclic existence altogether. I don't day and night look to become a Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings. And because of this, I am in a kind of a target at the time of death for some sort of arisal in my mind of one particular karma, and one particular karma alone, that will project my next existence. And unfortunately, I can't say confidently that know that at that moment, in that window, my mind is stable enough, and that my karma that I've accumulated in this lifetime is powerful enough to be certain that I will be able to have the conditions. If I don't, reach nirvana in this lifetime, I'll have the conditions conducive to be able to meet with these holy teachings and meet with the holy teacher. And the only thing that gives me some sort of confidence is the guru devotion, is the reliance upon Khenser Geshe Wandak that I did for 25 years. I met with him and I never separated from my teacher, and I every single week showed up and made sure that he recognized that I cared so much about the teachings that he was giving. And a couple of other teachers, that I had at the time also, who were just so kind to me, that were really, really just invested in me. And I know that everything good that is me, everything good that I can become, will be because of the kindness of a teacher, the kindness of a qualified teacher. And fortunately, I've had many qualified teachers. I mean, half of my life, I'm 51, so half of my life I've spent, trying to learn about Buddhism, trying to evolve, failing miserably sometimes, but other times, getting just a little bit of a taste of what's important. And what I've come to determine is exactly what Lama Tsongkhapa states at the beginning of The Source of All My Good, that generally we study on Thursday nights. And that's: the source of all my good is my kind Lama, my Lord. Bless me first to see that taking myself to him in the proper way is the very root of the path. And help me find sure knowledge to follow with all my strength and reverence. Bless me to be able to recognize this. And I feel so fortunate that after this period of time, no, I don't have calm abiding. No, I don't have this kind of, this ethics that are so stable and, immovable, where I have a mindfulness that reminds me to never, ever engage in negativities. I don't have this concentration because of that. And I haven't been able to really get my mind clear enough on emptiness because I don't have that concentration. So I have to recognize that, this is the state that I'm in, but based on what I've learned so far, and based on the fact that I've had qualified teachers, I don't have to stay in this static place that hasn't realized the three highest higher trainings, that is not a bodhisattva. I will be able to have renunciation. I will be able to have bodhicitta, because I have a mind that can do it. I have a mind that has the potential to do it, and others who have the mind with the same exact potential to do it have done it, have reached the state of the bodhisattva, have reached the state of Buddha independence upon the bodhisattva path. And I know that there isn't a different path for me. I don't have a special kind of individual problem that can't be conquered, because the root of all of our problems is the same root: the grasping at true establishment, the grasping at the self of person and phenomena as being inherently existent. And from there, I just cherish myself more than everyone else. It's kind of from this this jumping point where I'm ready to exaggerate, that I then exaggerate myself and then make choices to try to make myself feel good in the wrong ways. So that being said, it's amazing that I have been able to meet with a teacher, meet with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the Lord, the Buddha of compassion in our world, and receive teachings from beings like this that are incontrovertible, that are pure. And I know that even if I'm just parakeeting them, they're the teachings that can help you evolve your mind into a state of purity. So if you don't believe it yet, believe that after this many years of analysis and, not too shabby analysis, but could have been better, and didn't come into it with like the, a Rhodes Scholar or, a PhD, just graduating high school and coming into this information and finding that through reasoning and analysis, even at the level of intelligence that I have, I've been able to come to the conclusion that this other stuff must be right, because the stuff that I've been able to conclude through logic and reasoning at the basic level has been right so far. And I wasn't sure if it was right until I kind of concluded that it was. So I'm kind of feeling like the rest of the information should be like that, because I couldn't conclude the stuff that I can conclude now. And I see these conclusions happening more and more and more at very, very tiny little levels that prove to me that this is a virtuous path. So before we recite the Sanchu Molan, the King of Aspiration prayers, do what we always do. Imagine that you bring every single sentient being here to be able to recite this prayer along with you, to be able to hear this prayer being recited, to be able to, engage in the 7-limb prayer offering at the beginning of it with all of the visualizations, be able to really aspire to be able to become Buddhas. And we see the beautiful words of this prayer. So we're going to recite it in English as well as Tibetan. So now, knowing what the topic of this evening is, and knowing what we're going to do, you can feel confident in bringing every single sentient being here, because this is called the King of Aspiration prayers. It's from the Avatamsaka Sutra, pronouncement of Lord Buddha in the Kanjur, and we're so fortunate to have this in our world in multiple languages that we can recite it in. And by reciting it in Tibetan, by reciting the name of it in Sanskrit, by reciting the prayer in Tibetan, by reciting it in English, we leave our mind imprinted with all of these possibilities to learn the Dharma in so many different languages. So with that being said, imagine that you bring all the beings again, as I mentioned a moment ago, hell beings, all the 8 hot hells, 8 cold hells, hungry ghosts, all the animal beings. Think of all the animals that are enslaved, that are living in fear day and night. They aren't all obviously man-made fears where we're leading them to slaughter, but there's also the animals in every single place that you can think about are always worried about being eaten and having to try to protect themselves. And then we think about these beings that are in the intermediate state now that have been slaughtered, and these beings that are, have been thrust out of their bodies, not because of old age, because of, being killed and so forth. And we think of people who've died of old age who are in the intermediate state. And we think of all of these beings, not only the beings who are in a fixed realm, but those beings who are in a kind of temporary shape of a realm that could potentially change up to 7 times in the intermediate state, but that's another story. But we imagine all of those beings that are in the intermediate state. We imagine all human beings. We don't leave any aside whatsoever. We remove our bias when we engage in the meditation of the 7-point cause and effect for realizing bodhicitta. We see the pre-step of equanimity, where we wash away that bias, where we get to the conclusion that we're equally willing to benefit all sentient beings. We have this equal willingness. And when we look at the equalizing and exchanging self with others practice passed down in the profound view lineage from Nagarjuna, we find this idea of this equalizing self and other, this equality of self and other, equal importance of self and other, equal wish to have happiness that myself and all others have, this equality that we all have this Buddha nature, this equality that we all have this mind that's empty of inherent existence. So we recognize that any bias that we have, any kind of difficulty we have in bringing a human here that we may have had a problem with, we extinguish that with the other cherishing attitude. Now we imagine that all the demigods and gods are brought here. So now all the sentient beings here, now we imagine that the enlightened beings begin to fill in the space in front of us. All of the beings who've removed the afflictive obstructions, the obstructions to omniscience, anyone you consider a holy enlightened being. We imagine Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Kensur Geshe Wanda, Geshe Lobsang Gompo, Lobsang, Kensur Lobsang Jatso, imagining Geshe Dorje Damdu, Umzala Geshe Aga, Geshe Mala Tenzin Ladrin, Jeffrey Hopkins, all of these holy beings, Chado Rinpoche, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, Ani, Venerable Thupten Chodron, all of these holy beings, anyone you consider a holy being in your heart, you consider someone who's a Buddha, imagine them in the space in front of you, the beings of the extensive deeds lineage passed down from Buddha Shakyamuni to Maitreya and Asanga and Basu Bandhu and Dignaga and Dharmakirti and Vimuktasena and Haribhadra and Shakyaprabha and Gunaprabha and Salimpa and Lord Atisha, and imagining the beings of the profound view lineage passed down from Buddha Shakyamuni to Manjushri and Nagarjuna and Buddha Palita and Arya Deva and Chandrakirti and Shanti Deva and Baba Vega and Chandrashita and Kamala Shila, and again, Lord Atisha and Lama Salimpa, imagining all the beings of the lineage of blessings passed down from Vajradhara to Saraha and Matripa and Talopa and Naropa, Lotsawa Marpa, and Jetsun Milarepa and Gampopa, imagining that Atisha's passing down the Lamrim lineage to Drone Tompa, that holy lay being, and Drone Tompa is catching all of the words that are being passed down to us, imagining the three old Kadampa lineages, imagining all of the holy beings of the Nyingma, Padmasambhava, Sakya Pandita, and Satya Kunga Nimpo, the Kaju, the Karmapa is imagining the holy beings of the Galupa lineage started by Lama Tsongkhapa, and imagining Kirtap Jain, Joseph Jain, Basu Chichi Jetson, and Banchen Son Andrapa, and Jayan Sheba, and Gonju Jimmy Wampo, and Janjarupi Dorje, Jetsumpa, Pubajok, the seventh Dalai Lama, Ngawam Pelden, all of these holy beings imagining in the space in front of you, highest Yoga Tantra deities, performance Tantra deities, action Tantra deities, all the 35 Buddhas, and all of the protector deities. So now we have the bodhicitta field, we have all of the sentient beings around us, and we have the refuge field. We have the merit field in the space in front of us. So while we recite this Sanchu Molam prayer, imagine that all the sentient beings that wish to remove the afflictive obstructions and obstructions to omniscience, and that's everyone, because everybody wants to be free from suffering and wants to have happiness. We have this in common. No one wants to only be free from some suffering or wants to only have a little happiness. Everyone wants to be completely free from suffering and have the most amount of happiness, the most amount of bliss possible. So we know that here we're listening to the Mahayana Dharma, we're listening to the Sanchu Molam, which has within it the pathways which will allow beings to achieve that which they all want. So we've brought everyone here to be able to listen to this prayer, to be able to recite this prayer in the presence of the merit field, to be able to make this prayer to the merit field, make the 7 limb prayers to the merit field, and make sure as you hear these words being recited and as you hear that the Buddhas fill the atoms in the space in front of you, and that the offerings fill the atoms in the space in front of you, and that your bodies, when you make prostrations, are filling all of the atoms and making as many prostrations as there are atoms to as many Buddhas as there are atoms. And we're imagining that we're covering as much ground with all of these bodies as we possibly can so that we can accumulate the merit that Manjushri told Lama Tsongkhapa that he needs to accumulate, and because he was having trouble seeing, getting to the point where he could have this understanding of the final view of emptiness. And Manjushri appeared to him and said that you have to see your Lama as inseparable from the Yidam. You have to accumulate merit and try to get rid of, purify somehow, and then gain the wisdom arisen from hearing, analysis and meditation in relation to the Nalanda master's texts. So here we're trying to accumulate merit. We're trying to have the wisdom arisen from hearing, learning information so that we have more to analyze. We have information that's flowing into our ears, coming out of our lips from this beautiful prayer, the Sanchu Molam. And every time we read it, and we read it in our own individual language, whatever that may be, we can then get more and more out of it. If we study the Great Treatise on the Stage of the Path to Enlightenment, we study the Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand, we study the 5th Dalai Lama's spoken words of Manjushri, we study the Panchen Lama's various Lamrim texts, we can then look at this Sanchu Molam and we can really have it affect our minds each time more and more that we read it. And we know that this is one of Kensur Geshe Wandok's favorite prayers, one of the prayers that he did at the end of his life, and one that we should really, really have within our minds in terms of the context of the meaning. So with that being said, all sentient beings are here, all the enlightened beings are here in the space in front of you, and now we'll make this beautiful offering of prayer to the merit field. And not only is it an offering because it has the 7 limbs and so forth in it, the best way that we can make an offering, the way that Milarepa made offerings to all the gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas was to practice. And this is the highest offering that we can all give. Okay, so the Sanchimulam. Jagagedo Arya Bhadra Zarya Brana Dana Radza Pekedu Baba Zambu Jibi Mulanji Jibo Jambe Shina Jibala Shatselo. Jinye Zuda Juju Jiten Na Du Sun Jiba Mi Sengi Gon Dagi Malu De Da Danje La Lu Dang Ai Dang We Jaji O Sambo Jibe Mulan Do Da Ji Jawa Danje Jing. Hold on. Oh, the screen share. Keep going. Keep going. Right here. Jambashin. Then the translator's homage. And keep going. Okay. Take 2. Screen share wasn't going with the right screen share. So no, we're going to just repeat it. Jaka Gedo Arya Bhadra Zarya Branadana Raza Begedo Baba Sambujubi Melanji Jibo Jambe Jano Juba Lashat Zelo Jinye Zuda Juju Jidena Duzun Jeba Mi Zenge Gon Dagi Malu De Da Danjela Ludang Ai Dan We Jaji Sambo Jube Melandu Daji Jewa Danje Jiji Nguzondu Shinji Dunye Lura Tu Bai Jewa Gon La Ra Du Jazelo Duji Dena Dunye Zanje Nan Zanje Seji Una Jubada Deda Juji Namaluba Danje Jewa Daji Ganwo Mu Deda Ngaba Mize Jazuna Yanji Yen La Jazu Jagonji Yewa Gonji Yunden Raju Jin Dewa Jeba Danje Daji Du Medo Damba Wadam Badam Zinye Nandan Juba Du Jodam Ame Judan Dubo Damba Jewa De Dalani Juboji Naza Damba Nandan Ji Jodan Jema Bama Rira Nyamba Dan Guba Jeba Be Gunjun Ye Jewa De Dalani Chuboji Chuba Gana Lame Jajewa De Da Jewa Danje Layamu Zambo Chula De Pe Totagi Jewa Gon La Jadze Juboji Du Jaje Dan De Mu Wang Yi Ni Lu Dang A Dan De Jin Ji Ji Jang Di Ba Da Ji Ji Ba Ji Ji Ba De Da Dan Je Da Ji Zu Zu Ja Ju Ju Je Wa Gon Dan Zan Je Ze Ran Je Nan Dan Lu Dan Mi Lu Dan Zhuwa Gunji Zunang Galayan De Da Gunji Jezu Da Yirang Gana Juju Jiden Dromana Shanju Rimba Zanje Majane Wombo De Da Da Ji Danje La Golo Nana Me Bago Wago Nyanye Taton Ganje De Da La Zhuwa Gon La Benjin De Weje Yeba Jinji Dunye Jubayan Daji De Moraja Juwaji
sewa dan ju jin sha ba dan je su yi rang gu jin zu wa yi ge wa jun ze da ji ji sa ba dan je da ji shang chu ji ngo ti bi san ye nan dan je ju yi ji den da na gan shu ju ba ju ga ya ma jun de da ra nyo wa san zo shang ju rin ba san je jun shu ju ga le xin nan ji ye ba de da jia jie yong zu da ba ju shang ju ji wang jun xie jie wa dan san jie se ji ra du ngang wa shu shu ju zhen jian gang nan ji nie ba de da da du nie me de wa ju zhe wa gong ji shu ji de nan ni zong ba zhi xin ri an ju ba shu shang ju ju ba da ni da zhi xin zhe wa gong du jie wa jian ba ju se ra gong du ji bo jie wa nan da du da ni ra du zhong wa shu jie wa gong ji jie zu lu ju de san bo ju ba yong zu zu jie jin zi zhen ju ba jin mei yang da ba da du ma yang jin mei ju ba shu la yi ge dan lu dan de jin ge zhi bong da da mi yi ge nan da zhe wa gun ji zhan nan ji zang ba dan jie ge du da ji ju den de de jin ba ro jin la ra zun de shang ju zen ni na yang ji ma ju ji ba ga nan ji ba ju ba dan de da ma lu yong zu shang wo shu le dan yong mong du ji le na le zhu xin ji den zhe wa nan si yang ji da ben mo ju ji mi ya ji xin ni da nan ga de ba me da che jing yi jun dan zhe nin ji dan ba nian zong du nie ra du ji wa jie de wa da la zhe wa gong gu jin zhe wa dan jie la ni ben ba jie shang ju ju ba yong zu zu jie jin sen chen da gi ju dan dun ba ju san bo ju ba da ni ra dun jing ma ong ge ba gong du ju ba ju da gi ju dan zun ba gan ju ba de da da ni da du ju ba ju lu dang anan da ni zen ji jan ju ba da da mu lan ji du je da la ben ba du be ju bo da san bo ju ba ra du dun ba nan de da da yan da du je ba jo de da da ji na yan yi mi yon san je se ji go we gong ba nang u zun da du da ji je wa de ma ong ge ba gong du mi yu wa de da la yang ju ba ja je ji ye wa nan ji dan bei ju zin jin shang ju ju ba gong du nan wa je san bo ju ba nan ba zhong wa yang ma ong ge ba gong du je ba ji si pa tam che du yang go wa na su na ye she ta ni mi ze ne da da je ra din zin nan da da yun ten gun ji mi ze zu du jo du ji de na du nie jin de san ji mi ja san je na je se ji na ju ba la shang ju je ba ju xin da wa ji de da ma lu dan je ju su yang zha san jun la du sun se ni ji san ji jia su xin nan jia su dan kiao ba jia su ju xin ra du ju sun ji yan la jia su zha ji ji jie wa gong yang nian la nan da ba Zhōwa gōngjī zāmbā jī xīnyāng zāng jī zhōng lā dā du jū bā jī tu zhōng jī bē jē wā dāng jī dāng gō lō zhōng nā rā du gō rwā yī dē dā jī yāng zhōng yāng mī zē lā lō yī tu jī dā jāng rā du jū mā ōng gē bā dāng jī jū bā yāng gē jī 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 dā yāng jū bā Gayang gyaba du zum zede da je ji cha je ji ni ju ba je du zum je ba mi zenge nya de da je ji ji la da ji da da du de da ji ni ju yu la ju ma ju be nan da du yi ju Gayang du zon da ji jin ba de da du ji den du ngong ba zhu de da ma lu ju nan dan je du je wa da ji jin nan yu la ju Gayang ma jun ji den zhe ma nan de da rin ba zang jia go lo go Nian nian de ba ra du ji ta tun gong bo gong ji da Ju chi yo gong du nyo we ju zu zong nan dang gu ne gu yi di be da da dang gong du yun den ju be dong nan dang gong du xia ba jiang ba da yi do gu ne gi we zong nan da da dang jia ba me ba ju me di shi do ji ra dang dang din zin du da gi shang ju do nan yang da ju ba je lei jiong nam yong zu da jie jing niao mong dong nan gong du zhong ba jie de yi zhong nan da me ra jie jing zang bo ji be dong ni zu ba ji xin nan jia zuo nan ba da jie jing sen jian da zhou da yi nan ba zhu chi nan jia zuo ra du dong jie jing ye xie jia zu ra du do ba jie Jia zun gao nan ba da jie jin mu lan jia zu yun zu zong ba jie san jie jia zu ra du zhu jie jin ge ba jia zu mi ju jie ba ji ga yang du zong xie bei jie wa yi shang ju ju bei mu lan jie da nan san bo ju bei shang ju san jie ne de gong da gi ma lu zu ba ji jie wa gong ji se ji tu wo pa gang gi mi ni kun tu san ji ja jie ba de da zong ba ji be ji ge wa de da dan jie ra du ngo lu dang a dang yi jiang nan da jin ju ba nan da jin nan yong da ba ngo a zang bo ju be jin ja wa jin ja da jiang de dang sun ba ju kun ne ge wa zong bo ji be ji jiang be ji ni mu lan ji bo ji mong ge ba gong du mi ju wa de yi ja wa ma lu zu ba ju 十八大尼贼与马主心用电南张贼宗没把说九八贼没把拉内内张得大九八当切萨瓦吉南给大都九八吉三八三千马路大洋的心的的上来当牛梦大九八大吉木兰大洋的字母。 Gaya Joju Jinanda Eba Jin 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 De Jewana Labu La Dami Ye Dewe De Nanyan Jin Yi Dunye Ye Babu Be Ngoe Ye Bo De Dunye Jean Ju Je Ji Je Ze Ra Du Jin Len Chi Zayan De Ba Je Ba Na Su Nan Dan Be Ju Ju Di Ju Ro Gangi Sanju Mulan Di Dabe, Deni Nyen Zon Danje Bon Wa Ju, Deni Ju Bo Nyen Ba Ban Wa Yi, Na Wa Da Yi De Yan De Ju De Da Nye Ba Ra Nye De Wa Tsu, Mi Tse De Yan De Da Le Ba On Gong Tu San Bo De Yan Shin Ja Wa, De Da Rin Bo Mi Tu De Shin Jo, Same nga bo da gi di pa na gangi me she wangi je pa da de i san bo ju ba di ju na nyu du ma lu yon zu zhong wa ju ye je da ni zu dan zen nan dan ri dan ga do nan dan den ba ju du da mu de man bu di da du ji ten zon bo gon nan ju ju shan ju ji wan jun du de nyo jo sun ne zen jen ben ji de du de shan zu zen je yu lo ra tu go du nan de da che pa tan che du ga yan zan bo ju be mu lan di shan wa dan ni dun dan lu na yang de yi nan ba min ba zan jian shan ju ju la zan ni ma ji ji jiang be ba wu je da jian ba da gong du song bo na yang de xin de da gong ji je su da lu ji ge wa de da dang ji ra du ngo du song ji be je wa dang ji ji ngo wa gang la shu ju nga ba de da gi gi we ca wa de gong yang sang bo chu ji ra du ngo wa ji da ni ji we du je ju ba na di ba dang je da ni ji za de ngo zon na wa ta ye de don ne de wa jen ji jin de ra du do de zon ne ni mo lan de da jan dang je ma lu ngon du ju wa jo de da ma lu da yi yon zu jiang ji den ji zi sen jen ben bo ji jie wei jin guo zang xin ga wa de pen mo dang ba xin du zi le jie na wa da ye jie wei ngon zong du lon den ba yang da gi de du zhuo de ni da gi lon den ra nu nie zhu ba mang bo jie wa zha jia yi le yi de ji zhe zhu nan si yang sen chen nan la men ba mang bo ji Sam jam bo je be mo lan da ba yi ge wa chun se da ji ji sa ba de ne zhu e mo lan ge wa lan ge ji ji gi dan je zhu wa zhu ga yang san bo ju bia de ngu be sun nan da yi dan ba gang du de zhu wa du nie ju wa jin wa nan ho ba me be ne na du ba zhu mo lan je bo de da zhu gi zu da yi zhu wa gong la ben ji jing gong du san bo jian bei zhong zhu de ni zong ne na ma lu dong ba zhu san jie gu zong nie bei jin la dang zhu ni min zhu din bei jin la dang gen dun me jie dun bei jin la dang jie da ngu jin mo lan zhu ba zhu de ya da benza india wa bo da na e so
Now we'll recite it in English. Yeah. Oh, here we go. In the language of India. Oh, here, let's start at the very beginning. The king of aspiration prayers, Samantabhadra's aspiration to good actions in Sanchi Molan. And in Tibetan, it's the Papa Sampo Shupi Molang Gijelpo Shu. So we didn't read that at the beginning. We should have. We read the shorter. In the language of India, Arya, Bhadra, Charya, Pranadana, Raja. In the language of Tibet, Papa, Zombo, Jupi, Mulangi, Jelpo. In the English language, the king of aspiration prayers, Samantabhadra's aspiration to good actions. In every atom, homage to Manjushri, the youthful, to all the Buddhas, the lions of the human race, in all the directions of the universe, through past and present and future, to every single one of you, I bow in homage. Devotion fills my body, speech, and mind. Through the power of this prayer, aspiring to good action, all the victorious ones appear vivid here before my mind, and I multiply my body as many times as atoms in the universe, each one bowing in prostration to all the Buddhas. In every atom preside as many Buddhas as there are atoms, and around them all their bodhisattva heirs, and so I imagine them filling completely the entire space of reality, saluting them with an endless ocean of praise. With the sounds of an ocean of different melodies, I sing the Buddha's noble qualities and praise all of those who have gone to bliss. To every Buddha, I make offerings of the loveliest flowers and beautiful garlands, and of music, and of perfumed ointments, and of best parasols, and of the brightest lamps, and of the finest incense. To every Buddha, I make offerings, exquisite garments, and the most fragrant scents, powdered incense as high as Mount Meru, arranged in perfect symmetry. Then the vast and unsurpassable offerings, inspired by my devotion to all the Buddhas and moved by the power of my good faith and good actions, I prostrate and offer to you, all victorious ones. Whatever negative acts I have committed while driven by desire, hatred, and ignorance, with my body, my speech, and also my mind, before you I confess and purify each and every one. And any of it who's doing practice, here is where you would apply the 4 opponent powers. With a heart full of delight, I rejoice at all the merits of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Prachika Buddhas, those in training, and the Arhats beyond training, and every living being throughout the entire universe. You who are like beacons of light shining through the worlds, who pass through the stages of enlightenment to attain Buddhahood, freedom from all attachment. I exhort you, all of you protectors, turn the unsurpassable wheel of Dharma. Joining my palms together, I pray to you who intend to pass to nirvana, remain for eons, as many as the atoms in this world, and bring well-being and happiness to all living beings. What little virtue have I gathered through my homage, through offering, confession, rejoicing, through exhortation and prayer, all of it, I dedicate to the enlightenment of all beings. Let offering be made to the Buddhas of the past and all who now dwell throughout the 10 directions of the universe. Let all who are yet to come swiftly fulfill their wishes and attain the stages of enlightenment and Buddhahood. Let as many worlds as there are in all 10 directions transform into realms that are vast and utterly pure, filled with Buddhas who have sat before the mighty Bodhi tree. Around them all their bodhisattva sons and daughters. Let as many sentient beings as there are in all 10 directions live always and forever in happiness and health. Let all beings meet the Dharma that befits them best, and so may all they hope to be, may all they hope for be fulfilled. As I practice the training for enlightenment, may I recall all my previous lives, and in my successive lives, through death and through rebirth, may I always renounce this worldly life. Training in the footsteps of the victorious ones, may I bring good actions to perfection, and may my moral conduct be taintless and pure, never lapsing and always free from fault. In the language of the gods, Nagas, and Yaksas, in the language of demons and of humans too, and however many kinds of speech there may be, I shall proclaim the Dharma in the language of all. Taming my mind and striving in the paramitas, I will never forget the bodhicitta. May all my harmful actions and the obscurations they cause be completely purified, every single one. May I be freed from karma, harmful emotions, and work of negativity, and act for all beings in the world, just like the lotus flower to which mud and water cannot cling, or sun and moon that course unhindered through the sky. Throughout the reach and the range of the entire universe, I shall pacify completely the suffering of all the lower realms. I shall lead all beings to happiness and work for the ultimate benefit for each and every one. I shall bring enlightenment, action to perfection, serve beings so as to suit their needs, teach them to accomplish good actions, and continue this throughout the eons to come. May I always meet and be accompanied by those whose actions accord with mine and in body, speech, and mind as well. May our actions and aspirations always be one. May I always meet spiritual friends who long to be of true help to me and who teach me the good actions. Never will I disappoint them. May I always behold the Buddhas here before my eyes, and around them all their bodhisattva sons and daughters without ever tiring throughout all the eons to come. May the offerings I make them be endless and vast. May I maintain the sacred teachings of the Buddha and cause enlightened action to appear. May I train to perfection in good actions and practice these in every age to come. As I wander through all the stages of samsaric existence, may I gather inexhaustible merit and wisdom, and so become an inexhaustible treasury of noble qualities of skill and discernment, samadhi and liberation. In a single atom, may I see as many pure realms as atoms in the universe, and in each realm, Buddhas beyond all imagining, encircled by their bodhisattvas heirs. Along with them, may I perform the actions of enlightenment, and so in each direction, everywhere, even on the tip of a hair, may I see an ocean of Buddhas, all to come in past, present, and future in an ocean of pure realms. And throughout an ocean of eons, may I enter into enlightened action, and each and every one, each word of a Buddha's speech, that voice with its ocean of qualities, bears all the purity of the speech of all the Buddhas, sounds that harmonize with the minds of living beings. May I always be engaged in the speech of the Buddhas. With all the power of my mind, may I hear and realize the inexhaustible melody of the teachings spoken by the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. And as they turn the wheels of Dharma, just as the wisdom of the Buddhas penetrates all future eons, so may I know them instantly. And in each fraction of an instant, may I know that all past, present, and future. In an instant, may I behold all those who are the lions of the human race, the Buddhas of the past, present, and future. May I always be engaged in the Buddha's way of life and action through the power of liberation, where all is realized as like an illusion. On a single atom, may I actually bring about the entire array of pure realms of past, of present, and future, and into those pure Buddha realms in each atom and in each and every direction. When those who illuminate the world still to come gradually attain Buddhahood, turn the wheel of Dharma, and demonstrate the final, profound peace of nirvana, may I always be in their presence. Through the power of swift miracles, the power of the vehicle like a doorway, the power of the conduct that possesses all virtuous qualities, the power of loving kindness, all pervasive, the power of merit that is totally virtuous, the power of wisdom free from attachment, and the powers of knowledge, skillful means, and samadhi, may I perfectly accomplish the power of enlightenment. May I purify the power of karma, destroy the power of harmful emotions, render negativity utterly powerless, and perfect the power of good actions. I shall purify oceans of realms, liberate oceans of sentient beings, understand oceans of Dharma, realize oceans of wisdom, perfect oceans of actions, fulfill oceans of aspirations, serve oceans of Buddhas, and perform these without ever growing weary through oceans of eons. All the Buddhas throughout the whole time attained enlightenment through good actions and their prayers and aspirations for enlightened action. May I fulfill them all completely. The eldest of the sons of all the Buddhas is called Samantabhadra, all good, so that I may act with a skill like his. I dedicate fully all these merits to purify my body, my speech, and my mind as well, to purify my actions and all realms. May I be equal of Samantabhadra in his skill and in dedication. In order to perform the full virtue of good actions, I shall act according to Manjushri's prayers of aspiration. Without ever growing weary in all eons to come, I shall perfectly fulfill every one of his aims. Let my bodhisattva acts be beyond measure. Let my enlightened qualities be measureless too. Keeping to this measurable activity, may I accomplish all the miraculous powers of enlightenment. Sentient beings are limitless, as the boundless expanse of space. So shall my prayers of aspirations for them be as limitless as their karma and harmful emotions. Whoever hears this king of dedication prayers and yearns for supreme enlightenment, who even once arouses faith will gain true merit greater still than by offering the victorious ones infinite pure realms in every directions, all ornamented with jewels, or offering them all the highest joys of gods and humans for as many eons as there are atoms in all those realms. Whoever truly makes this aspiration to good actions will never again be born in the lower realms, will be free from harmful companions, and soon behold the Buddha of boundless light. They will acquire all kinds of benefits and live in happiness, even in this present life, and will go well. And before long, they will become just like Samantabhadra. All negative acts, even the 5 immediate retribution, whatever they have committed in the grip of ignorance, will soon be completely purified. If they recite the aspiration to good actions, they will possess perfect wisdom, beauty, and excellent signs, be born in a good family and with radiant appearance. Demons and heretics will never harm them, and all the 3 worlds will honor them with offerings. They will quickly go beneath the Bodhi tree, and there they will sit to benefit all sentient beings, then awaken into enlightenment and turn the wheel of Dharma and tame Mara with all his hordes. The full result of keeping teaching or reading the prayer of aspiration to good action is known to the Buddhas alone. Have no doubt supreme enlightenment will be yours. And this is because it's extremely hidden phenomena, and only the Buddhas can really, really understand that at its subtlest level. Just as the Bodhisattva Manjushri attained omniscience and Samantabhadra too, all these merits now I will dedicate to train and follow in their footsteps. As all the victorious Buddhas of past, present, and future praise dedication as supreme, so now I dedicate all these roots of virtue for all beings for perfect good actions. When it is time for me to die, let all that obscures me fade away. So I look at Amitabha there in person and go at once to his pure land of Sukhavati. In that pure land, may I actualize every single one of these aspirations. May I fulfill them, each and every one, and bring help to beings for as long as the universe remains. Born there in a beautiful lotus flower, in that excellent and joyous Buddha realm, may the Buddha Amitabha himself grant me the prophecy foretelling my enlightenment. Having received the prophecy there with my billions of emanations sent out through the power of my mind, may I bring enormous benefit to sentient beings in all 10 directions. Through whatever small virtue I have gained by reciting the aspiration to good actions, may the virtuous wishes of all beings, prayers, and aspirations all be instantly accomplished. Through the power, the true and boundless merit attained by dedicating the aspiration to good actions, may all those now drowning in the ocean of suffering reach the supreme realm of Amitabha. May this king of aspiration bring about the supreme aim and benefit of all infinite sentient beings. May they perfect what is described in this holy prayer uttered by Samantabhadra. May the lower realms be entirely empty. By the blessings of the Buddha who obtained the 3 kayas and the unchanging truth of reality, as well as the unwavering aspirations of the Sangha, may all these aspirations and dedication prayers be fulfilled. Te ata benza India awa bodhanae soha. If you're attached to this life, you're not a spiritual practitioner. If you're attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you're attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. And we can see how that small 4-stanza quote from Satyakunga Nyingpo that was taught to him by Manjushri contains all of the pathways that we need to contain within our mind to become Buddhas. We need to generate the mind of the teaching shared in common with beings of small capacity that renounces the things of this life. We need to generate the mind of the teaching shared in common with beings of medium capacity that wishes to definitely emerge from cyclic existence, wishes to definitely get rid of cyclic existence. We need to generate the mind that wishes to become a Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings day and night, which is called bodhicitta, this precious, precious mind. And if we're attached to our own self-interest, we don't have the view. We don't have bodhicitta. And if we still have grasping, if we don't have the correct view of emptiness, we don't have the view. We have to have the correct view of emptiness and combine that with the teaching shared in common with beings of small and medium capacity and the bodhicitta found in the teachings for beings of great capacity. And then ultimately combine all of those things with the final completion stage of highest yoga tantra, as we see Buddha Shakyamuni did on the 10th Bodhisattva ground, and be able to achieve the perfection, the removal of all the afflictive obstructions and the obstructions to omniscience, and dependence upon the union or the non-duality of clear light and bliss, emptiness and bliss. Okay, So now we'll pray for the flourishing of Lama Tsongkhapa's teachings. Though he's the father, producer of all conquerors, as a conqueror's son, he produced the thought of upholding the conqueror's Dharma in infinite worlds. Through this truth, may the conqueror Lozong's teachings flourish. When in the presence of Buddha Endraketu, he made his vow, the conqueror and his offspring praised his powerful courage. Through this truth, may the conqueror Lozong's teachings flourish. That the lineage of pure view and conduct might spread, he offered a white crystal rosary to the sage, who gave him a conch and prophesied. Through this truth, may the conqueror Lozong's teachings flourish. His pure view, free of eternity or destruction, his pure meditation, cleansed of dark fading and fog, his pure conduct, practiced according to the conqueror's orders. May the conqueror Lozong's teachings flourish. Learned since he extensively sought out learning, reverently, rightly applying it to himself, good, dedicating all for the beings in the doctrine. May the conqueror Lozong's teachings flourish. Through being sure that all scripture is definitive and interpretive, were without contradiction, advice for one person's practice, he stopped all misconduct. May the conqueror Lozong's teachings flourish. Listening to the explanation of the three Pitakas. Realized teachings, practice of the three highest higher trainings, is skilled in the life, accomplished life story is amazing. May the conqueror Lozong's teachings flourish. Outwardly calmed and subdued by the hearer's conduct, inwardly trusting in the two stages practice, he allied without clash in the two, and he allied, hold on, where am I? He allied without clash the good paths of Sutra and Tantra. May the conqueror Lozong's teachings flourish, combining voidness, explained as the causal vehicle with great bliss achieved by method, the effect vehicle, hard essence of 80,000 Dharma bundles. May the conqueror Lozong's teachings flourish. By the power of the ocean of oath-bound doctrine protectors, like the main guardians of the three beings' paths, the quick-acting Lord, Vaishravana, Karmayana, may the conqueror Lozong's teachings flourish. In short, by the lasting of glorious gurus' lives, by the earth being full of good, learned, reverend holders of the teaching, and by the increase of the power of its patrons, may the conqueror Lozong's teachings flourish. Any mistakes I've made in recitation and so forth may be purified by the mantra of Vajrasattva. May any negativities that came into your mind during this recitation also be purified by the recitation of the Vajrasattva mantra, imagining Vajrasattva is in the merit field with all the other holy beings there, inseparable from your root Lama, and that light rays and nectars are descending down on you and all sentient beings and purifying your body, speech, and mind by these letters that by the nectars that are transforming into letters, white ohms that are purifying your body, red ahs that are purifying your speech, and blue ohms that are purifying your mind and all sentient beings' minds. So just imagine this visualization. Om benza sato samayamana bala benza sato sina bajita didame ba sutukai me ba subukai me ba anurag me ba sabasiri me bracha sawa kamsa you make it jam ha bhagavan sarva tata kata benza ma samaya sapa om fe. May we always be protected by Palden Lamo. And we'll do 21 Palden Lamos now. His Holiness the Dalai Lama has said that Geshe Dadu Namgyal, who's missing, we should do Palden Lamo mantras for him. His brother was at the Shravasti Abbey last Tuesday when we were doing the Medicine Buddha Puja. And he's, obviously very sad and wishes to find his brother, as many people do, who were his students. He was a great scholar, an incredible person, a great practitioner. So Geshe Dadu Namgyal, also known as, I believe, Geshe Tenzin Chodak, may you quickly be found through the power of this recitation of the Palden Lamo mantra. Palden Lamo, who Kensler Geshe Wandak told us is our protector, who's the wrathful emanation of Tara. Rama 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 Dunjo Kalarajim Rama Wajadaja Dunjo Rulu Hunjo Rama Rama Dunjo Kalarajim Rama Wajadaja Dunjo Rulu Hunjo Rama Dunjo Kalarajim Rama Wajadaja Dunjo Rulu Hunjo Rama Dunjo Kalarajim Rama Wajadaja Dunjo Lunjo Rama Dunjo Galarajim Rama Wajada Dunjo Lunjo Rama Dunjo Galarajim Rama Wajada Dunjo Lunjo Rama Dunjo Galarajim Rama Wajada Dunjo Lunjo Rama Dunjo Galarajim Rama Wajada
Jadunjo, Rilunjo, Yaramaja Ramaja Ramadunjo, Galarajemo, Ramaja Jadunjo, Rilunjo, Yaramaja Ramaja Ramadunjo, Galarajemo, Ramaja Jadunjo, Rilunjo, Yaramaja Ramaja Ramadunjo, Galarajemo, Ramaja Jadunjo, Rilunjo, Ramaja 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 Ramaja Ramadunjo, Galarajemo, Ramaja Jadunjo, Rilunjo, Rama Ramadunjo, Galarajemo, Ramaja Jadunjo, Rilunjo.
May we all be protected by Palden Lamo and always meet by the Dharma. Always meet with the Dharma. Anyone who's having problems with meeting with the Dharma or having obstacles in their life, may they be immediately removed by the power of the Drapasundri mantra, the three wrathful protectors. Om Bhajapani Hare Griva Garuda Om Ved. I dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra as well. With whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors to traverse the three times, I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. Long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. In the Pure Land surrounded by snowy mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. All-powerful Avalokiteshvara Tenzin Gyatso, may you stay until Samsara is end. Ari Rawe Gorwe Shinyan Dirvendan Dewa Malu Zhongwei Ne Genrezi Wang Tenzin Gyatso Ijapezi De Vadu Den Yoji. Prayer of supplication to Nangyal Kensar Geshe Wandak Rinpoche, my root teacher. And Lori, if you could read, that would be fantastic.
A complex yogi poses as a simple monk.
Through the power of you reading this prayer and through your connection with Kensar Geshe Wandak, may your operation go smoothly and may all obstacles be removed.
Homage to Kensar Geshe Wandak Rinpoche, our precious spiritual friend who is inseparable from Aryatara. I fully prostrate, covering as many atoms of the earth as possible, to your pure body, speech, mind, and enlightened activities. I offer to you drinking water, bathing water, flowers, incense, candles, scented water, food, and music purified by Om Ah Hom, Om Ah Hom. The rarity of having 1 million wish-fulfilling gems is a common occurrence compared to meeting with a holy teacher like you, who placed the complete path to Buddhahood in our childlike hands. Just like Atisha, who came to Tibet with a lamp to dispel the darkness of ignorance, you, kind avid, arrived in the West with a lineage purer than a diamond and begged us to never be satisfied with partial instructions. The teachings of the extensive deeds and profound view lineages flowed from your lips like nectar for our ears that elucidated the teachings for beings of three capacities. Now that sound has stopped, all composite things are impermanent. You told us that all of your teachers passed away and understood this sadness in treating us to continue our studies. The Buddha does not wash away the negativity of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transformed to them. It is by teaching the truth of suchness that beings are liberated. We are not prepared to take this difficult journey to the highest goodness of Buddhahood without your continued guidance. The sadness in our hearts would be too overwhelming. May you swiftly return to this world and take care of us in all of our lives, wherever we may be, never leaving our hearts and crowns. May all sentient beings perfectly realize renunciation, bodhicitta, and the correct view of emptiness, so they know who you really are.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for your kind, patient listening and aspirations. And through the power of these prayers, may so many sentient beings that are suffering in cyclic existence needlessly, because there's an answer, there's a solution, may they quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and then be able to lead others to that state. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you on Sunday.